Have you ever pondered about a clash between the notorious Viking warriors and the fierce Celtic fighters? These weren't merely hypothetical battles, but actual historical confrontations that shaped course of history. Who would emerge victorious? Let's set the stage for this legendary showdown. Our first contenders, the Vikings, hail from the rugged lands of Scandinavia. The period between the late 8th and early 11th century marked the Viking Age, a time when these seafaring warriors left an indelible mark on the annals of history. One of the notable confrontations was the Battle of Clontarf in 1014, where the Norse Gaels, a group of Vikings, clashed brutally with the Irish Celts. Despite the fierce fighting, the Celts emerged victorious, marking a significant turning point in curbing Viking expansion. Renowned for their mastery of the sea, the Vikings were not just raiders and traders, but also explorers. Their ships, as swift as the Nordic winds, carried them to distant lands, from the icy realms of Greenland to the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean. On the other side, we have the Celts, whose origins can be traced back to the Iron Age and medieval Europe. The Celts were a collection of tribes, each with its own customs and traditions, but united by a common language, culture, and of course, their prowess in battle. This unity was particularly evident in the Battle of Strangford Lough in 877, where the Celtic forces, using guerrilla warfare tactics, successfully held off a Viking raid. Celtic warriors, akin to the untamed forces of nature, were revered and feared in equal measure. These historical battles not only showcased their valor, but also led to cultural exchanges, influencing each other's art, language, and traditions. So, who would reign supreme if these two formidable forces were to collide? Would it be the seafaring Vikings with their relentless raids, or the resilient Celts with their guerrilla warfare? Dive into the world of these legendary warriors as we compare their strengths and tactics based on historical facts. Our journey into this historical showdown is just beginning. Let's delve deeper into the strengths of the Vikings in the next scene. The Vikings, feared seafarers from the north, were they as formidable as their reputation suggests? Let's delve into the heart of their prowess. The Vikings were not just warriors, they were survivalists, bred in the harsh climates of Scandinavia. The unforgiving Nordic terrain sculpted them into hardy individuals with a robust physical constitution. Their strength was not merely a result of their environment, but also their lifestyle. They were farmers, blacksmiths, carpenters, occupations requiring stamina and resilience. This physical strength translated well into their combat abilities. When it came to weaponry, the Vikings were innovative and effective. Their primary weapon, the Viking sword, was a testament to their skill in metallurgy. Designed for slashing rather than stabbing, these swords were light, balanced, and deadly in the right hands. Alongside the sword, the Vikings wielded axes and spears with lethal proficiency. But strength and weaponry alone do not win battles. The Vikings were masters of strategy. They adopted the shield wall tactic, a formation where warriors would interlock their shields and thrust their weapons through gaps, providing both offense and defense. The shield wall was a formidable formation, nearly impregnable and devastatingly effective in close-quarter combat. Another facet of the Viking strength was their naval prowess. The Vikings were unmatched seafarers, their longships becoming symbols of impending doom for those on the receiving end of a Viking raid. The design of these ships allowed for swift and versatile movement, enabling the Vikings to execute surprise attacks and rapid retreats. This naval superiority gave them a significant advantage, allowing them to strike where least expected and retreat before reinforcements could arrive. In essence, the Vikings were a blend of physical might, innovative weaponry, strategic mastery, and naval supremacy. They were not just warriors, they were a force of nature, sweeping across lands with the ferocity of a winter storm. The Vikings were indeed a force to be reckoned with, but how do they stack up against the Celts? The Celts, renowned for their ferocity in battle, would they withstand the Viking onslaught? Let's delve into the might of the Celts, a force to be reckoned with, known for their heart-stopping courage and tenacity. Physically, the Celts were a hardy bunch. Their lives, steeped in manual labor and constant warfare, sculpted them into robust warriors, with strength and stamina to spare. Their weapons, though not as advanced as the Vikings, were nonetheless effective. They wielded long swords and spears with deadly precision, their dexterity honed by years of rigorous training. But the Celtic strength lay not just in their physical prowess or their weaponry, but also in their tactics. They were masters of guerrilla warfare, a style of combat that relied on swift, surprise attacks intended to throw the enemy into disarray. They knew their lands like the back of their hands, and they used this knowledge to their advantage, setting up ambushes and traps to ensnare their foes. Yet the Celts didn't just rely on physical strength and tactical brilliance. They also employed psychological warfare to intimidate their enemies. Before the battle, they would adorn their bodies with war paint, transforming themselves into fearsome figures. Bright colors swirled over their skin, each pattern a symbol of their individual strength and valor. They would let out blood-curdling battle cries, sounds that would echo through the air and send chills down the spines of their adversaries. The sight and sound of the Celtic warriors were enough to strike fear into the hearts of even the most hardened soldiers. The Celts were not just warriors, they were a force of nature. Their ferocity, their cunning, their sheer audacity, all combined to make them one of the most formidable forces in history. But the question remains, how would they fare against the Vikings? A group of warriors known for their ruthlessness and unyielding determination. The Celts were certainly formidable, but how would they fare in a direct confrontation with the Vikings? So, if Vikings and Celts were to clash, who would emerge victorious? Let's revisit the strengths of these two formidable groups. The Vikings, with their sturdy longships, seafaring prowess, and brutal hit-and-run tactics, were a force of nature. Their relentless drive for exploration and conquest was matched only by their legendary resilience. On the other side, the Celts, known for their guerrilla warfare and ferociousness in battle, were no pushovers. Their intimate knowledge of their home terrains and their ability to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies with their terrifying war cries and intricate body art were their major strengths. If a hypothetical confrontation were to take place, it would be a fierce and bloody battle, with both sides employing their unique tactics and capitalizing on their strengths. While it's impossible to say for certain, it's fascinating to imagine such a clash of cultures and combat styles. History may not provide a definitive answer, but it certainly fuels our imagination.